On this episode of That One Movie Podcast, we're going to take a look at Five Nights at Freddy's. We're going to review that. We will start off spoiler-free, so be warned that we will be spoiler-free at first, and then we'll dive into spoilers.
Yes.
That was a weird way of saying that.
That was. You got the point across.
Well, it's spoiler-free and spoilers.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing. We're also going to review, Gen V Episode 7, which is titled Sick, the penultimate episode of the Season 1 of that show, as well as Loki Season 2, Episode 4, Heart of the TVA. Before we do either of those things, Holden, we got to talk about the news from this week in the world of entertainment. What's going on?
Oh, well, we actually got a lot of spooky news this week, Jimmy. A lot of horror movie related news. The Black Phone 2 is apparently happening. We'll
Call
talk about
me
that.
back.
Yeah, call me back. A new Stephen King adaptation is in the works, as always.
Yeah.
Always one.
Pet Sematary 3?
No. And there will be no trailers this week.
No
So
trailers.
that's kind of a surprise. We usually have at least one, but really nothing.
There we go. As always, use the time codes down in the description to jump to any segment or discussion that you find the most interesting, or just stick around and along for the whole ride. Boy, again, Holden, this is like the third week in a row where I'm really just flubbing the
That's
intros.
okay. You said you were very tired.
We
so.
could redo these, but
Yeah. Too much work.
we go for quantity, not quality
Yeah.
here at That One Movie
We
Podcast.
churn them out.
Anywho, I'm Jimmy Youthie,
I'm Holden Sutter.
and it's time for Tom.
Tom.
That One Movie Podcast.
Tom.
All right, Jimmy. Before we talk Five Nights at Freddy's, let's do the Toms.
Let's do the Toms.
The Toms.
Toms is the rapid fire segment in which we rate the news of the week in the world of entertainment on a scale of three famous Toms: Brokaw, Bombadil, and Bergeron. Brokaw's the highest, Bombadil's the lowest, and Bergeron is somewhere in between.
I'm getting the hang of it, Holden. I think that was
Flawless.
probably our best.
Yeah, I
Best
didn't
run through.
flub, you didn't flub.
Good job.
We finally made it.
We finally
After
did it.
however many weeks we've been doing this thing.
Yeah.
So
223 episodes leading to this moment right here. It's been
it's a
an
good
honor.
omen for this episode.
It is. It's a great omen. No trailers, Holden. So no talking
very
about
surprised.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. There was a new trailer for The Killer, but that comes out on Netflix like next week. So we don't really need to see any more for that. We'll watch it.
Yeah.
New David Fincher movie. But first,
we could talk about swim in the pool. It's dark out.
I was thinking about putting that down. Night Swim. Do we want to mention it? It's a dumb trailer.
Effective. I guess it's got a bunch of views.
Yeah, people seem to. I don't know. It's like
Doesn't tell you anything about the movie. I guess it's a good trailer in the fact that what on earth is this thing?
yeah,
The payoff, I feel like, is not there for the buildup, but I think the buildup is good.
it's just a jump scare and a really obvious one at that.
Marco.
Yeah, Marco. I don't know. I mean, like the concept, it could be interesting. It's done by James Wan's production company.
James Wan, producer of The Nun,
as he's
which is his
described.
top credential, of course.
Yeah, I don't know. It looks.
I'll give it a Broca, Holden. Why not?
I'm gonna give it
swim
a.
at night. Don't
gonna give it a
swim.
Bombadil.
Part Marco Polo.
I don't want to watch this. We
Okay.
might though. We'll see.
But see, we're talking about it, so the
It's
trailer
true.
worked.
Yeah,
It worked. Holden.
How many views did it have? Did you say?
I had like 11 million views when I looked at that trailer, which
That's
is, but like, I don't know. Let me pull it up now. Night.
I feel like that's
Swim.
not totally out of the question.
But for that, seriously? But I mean, like, come on. Go to YouTube. All right. Night Swim trailer, 12 million views. But like, I feel like that's a lot.
Maybe.
I wonder what that Nick Cage movie has. Dream Scenario trailer. What do you think?
I would
Ballpark it.
probably less, but not too much less.
I'm going to say like 3.4 million.
You think so?
I think it's not even close. 700. Wait, no, that's official promo. 3.2 million.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
pretty good, Holden.
That is pretty good.
See? I'm telling you. Like, I was like, this is absurd.
That is pretty crazy.
Good marketing.
I
That's
mean,
what
I guess
said.
like Dreams, it's Nick Cage, but it's still kind of a weird movie. I
Yeah,
don't
but
know.
Night Swim?
Yeah.
What do you think the Marvels trailer has?
A lot more than that.
Like 52 million.
Roughly 50 million, let's say.
Marvel's trailer, 20 million.
Oh, wow.
Wow. No wonder that movie's not going to do very well.
Never mind, I guess.
Huh. Well, okay. Loki season 2 trailer. This is a fun game.
Yeah, I don't.
Loki
this is a really
season 2 trailer. I'm going to
worthwhile-
say 31 million.
Okay. It did get. I'm pretty sure it did get a lot more than a lot of the Disney Plus shows. Let's see.
Loki season 2 trailer. That's mid-season trailer. Official trailer, 16 million.
Oh wow.
Okay.
So not.
Yeah. I'm telling you, Holden. I'm telling you, 12 million for that trailer
weird.
is a lot. I was like, what the heck?
Yeah. Who cares about Night Swim? Not me.
Apparently
I give it
other
a
people.
Bombadil.
Apparently other people, Holden. It's trending.
All right, Jimmy.
That's why it was a broke out. I'm telling you, it's a good
I'm
trailer.
moving to Bombadil because I don't like it.
The movie probably isn't very good.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Polo. It's it gives off like Smile levels of like
Which people liked Smile.
people liked Smile.
And people also like Five Nights at Freddy's. So we'll talk
I'll
about
talk
that.
about that.
Oh, what shirt should I wear tomorrow?
Polo. No. Bad joke.
Bad joke. All right. What is our actual news?
So first thing, sad piece of news. Matthew Perry has passed away. Matthew Perry, who plays Chandler on Friends.
Which I've never seen.
You've never seen Friends at all?
I've seen Friends, but I couldn't name you the characters.
Oh, okay.
Joey.
Joey is one of the characters.
Jennifer
Good job.
Aniston.
Well, she's an actress on it.
Yeah.
Good job.
Central Perk. Hey,
Yep.
we got to move a couch. There we go.
Pivot.
That's
what they say. Yeah, Matthew Perry, but he plays Chandler Bing, who, I'm not the biggest Friends fan, but I did grow up with it because my parents watched it all the time. And Chandler is my favorite character on this show. I feel like he's very snarky in his like delivery. He's just kind of like, he's kind of rude, but in a lovable way.
Yeah.
But
like you, Holden.
Yeah, like me. Maybe I relate to that. But no, it's very sad. I don't know. I don't know exactly the circumstances of his death. I know he struggled with drug addiction for quite a while. I think he was like doing better though, so I don't think it was drug related from what I understand. But yeah, it's still sad.
Yeah,
He was
very sad.
famous.
54 or something when he died.
Yeah, I
Too
think
young.
it was 54.
Too young, I say. And it seems like he was alone, which is also too bad. So Bombadil for me.
Yeah,
I don't like that.
Bombadil for me. There we go.
There you
I was
go.
struggling with my faces there.
Yeah.
But anyway, other news, Jimmy. We have some movie delays. I'm just going to clump them all here like we used to do during COVID. We used to just put it at the beginning.
Back to the good old days.
Yeah, back to the good old days. So Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 2 has been delayed a year to May 23rd, 2025, Jimmy.
Also, I heard that that's not what it's going to be called anymore. Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 2, which is a good thing because that name blows.
That's still weird, though, because then you had one movie come out that's called Dead Reckoning Part 1, and the next one's
I'm just assuming they're going to change it to Dead Reckoning. Mission Impossible, get the key.
Get the key. The key is really important.
Mission Impossible, what did they call it? What did they call the AI?
Oh, the entity.
The entity. Mission Impossible Dark Entity.
The Dark Entity.
Dark Entity is better than Dead Reckoning.
Yeah. What does the name Dead Reckoning really have to do with the movie? Do they say it in the movie?
Dark Entity. Rogue Nation. Dark Entity sounds generic, but it also sounds like a Mission Impossible movie.
And it fits in. Like Rogue Nation is because there's a rogue like they're fighting against a rogue nation of people in that movie. Yeah.
Fallout because he fell out of a plane.
Yeah. And there's nuclear bombs. But yeah, I don't really get I mean, I guess I've only seen it the one time. I don't know how Dead Reckoning really fits in, but regardless, Jimmy, sad that we're not getting the second part for a year.
I need to rewatch number 7.
Same. We didn't like it as much as 6, but
Didn't. I will go Bergeron, I guess.
I'll go Bombadil because I'm selfish and I want this movie to come out soon.
Okay, well, yeah. Yeah, why don't all these actors just put aside their needs? Just acquiesce to the multi-billion dollar
I guess you know
companies.
what, that's true. I was under the impression it was like already like mostly. Did they film it back to back or did they not?
I don't know, Holman.
I can't remember. I'll switch to a Bergeron.
What do we do? Talk about the movie news every week? I have no idea.
Yeah,
Bergeron
can't
is
remember.
where I'm at.
Then the other delays we have are that for Disney, the live action Snow White and the Pixar Elio movie, that alien. There's a trailer.
Take me to your leader.
Yeah, they were both delayed by a year. So Snow White's coming out March 21st, 2025, and Elio's coming out June 13th, 2025.
Good, I say.
Yeah,
I don't.
good.
These are two movies I don't really care about.
Apparently, Pixar's next movie now is Inside Out 2.
Oh, there we go. I like that.
So
outside, inside, upside down,
outside down.
Upside downside.
Other movie news, Jimmy. The Black Phone is apparently getting a sequel with Scott Derrickson returning to direct and C. Robert Cargill returning as screenwriter with the current release date of June 27th, 2025.
I thought that movie was fine. I'll give it a Bergeron.
We didn't like it as much as everyone else did.
No. What's going to be I mean, this is not going to be called The Black Phone 2. I wouldn't think. They did call it The Nun 2, so...
Yeah, but
missed opportunity for Nunya business. But what do you think this one is? The Black Phone redialed. The Black Phone call me back.
I don't know.
Try to call me. You're dead.
I mean, you'd probably try to incorporate the phone into the title, but I don't like. I guess I'm more hung up on how do you make a sequel to it.
I don't remember how it ends. So
okay, that's fair.
I'm like. I don't know. I don't really remember either. It seemed like a very one-off movie.
Yeah, I felt like it ended pretty conclusively. So I'm interested.
Phone.
The purple. Yeah, it's just
with lots of
color
colors
now. Yeah. I'll give it a Bergeron because it was a fine movie. We didn't like it as much as a lot of people did, but made a lot of money. So,
is there no other movie to make than a sequel to this movie?
I don't know. Apparently I read this tweet by C. Robert Cargill who was like, he said that we weren't going to make a sequel to it unless we came up with a really good idea. And then
guys, here's my really good idea. If we make a sequel, we're earning money.
Yeah. No. He said that one of the contributors on the script, he called him up with a really good idea.
With a black phone.
A black phone. Yeah, probably. But
probably, yeah. Well, space gray phone.
Space gray
iPhone 15
Matte
Pro
black.
Max.
Yeah. So Bergeron for that. Another horror movie news. It Follows 2 is in development. Did you ever watch It Follows?
I haven't. It has been on my watch list since 2015 or 17 or whenever they come out.
It was 14.
I'll give this a bro cop for a movie I haven't seen.
Okay. It's under the title They Follow this time. So implying there's going to be more than one.
Them do that.
Yeah. And then David Robert Mitchell, who directed the original film, and the star of the original film, Micah Monroe, are both returning as well. So
cool. I will ignore what you said in case those are spoilers for the outcomes of the first one. It's already out in my ear. I'm going to give it a brocock because I want to see this movie. It's been on my watch list forever. And now I get to watch. Now I have an excuse to watch it before the new one comes out. Hold on.
Yeah, I'm giving it a brocock too. That movie, I really need to rewatch it. I remember liking it. I probably watched it in high school, so it's been a while. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Pretty good, stylish movie. So cool. Other horror news, Jimmy. We have a new Stephen King adaptation directed by my man Mike Flanagan. Who previously has directed Dr. Sleep, but also, of course, all those Netflix series.
Fall the House of Usher.
Fall the House of Usher is the most recent one, yeah, but also like Haunting of Hill House, Haunting of Bly Manor, Midnight Mass, all those. This one is called The Life of Chuck, apparently based on one of his short stories. It has a stacked cast here. Tom Hiddleston, Mark Hamill, Karen Gillan, Matthew Lillard, who we'll talk about later, David Dastmalchian, Chiwetel Ejiofor, and
what is he in?
He or she. He's the star of 12 Years a Slave.
Okay,
he's in like Doctor Strange.
Okay,
he's a very good actor. And also plenty of Flanagan alums because he likes to put a lot of the same people in his movies. But apparently the story, it depicts three different stories in the life of Charles Chuck Krantz, beginning with his death and ending with his time growing up in a supposed haunted house.
Alrighty. I mean, he takes good stuff that I've seen, which is just Dr. Sleep, which I liked. So I'm going to give it a Brokaw.
Yeah, I'm giving it a Brokaw too, because everything I've seen from him I've really liked. And I'm going to start following House of Usher soon. So very excited for that. Next piece of news. We're out of horror movie news, Jimmy.
Oh, spooky time.
It was pretty
over.
spooky. So the next movie, apparently from John Wick director Chad Stahelski, is not the Ghost of Tsushima
Yeah,
movie.
I was going to say, what the heck's going on here?
Yeah, it's going to be a reboot of Highlander, the series from like the 80s and 90s. Henry Cavill starring in it, and it's going to start filming next year with a budget of upwards of $100 million. So
I want my Ghost of Tsushima movie. So, just for that. I'm sure this movie will be fine and cool, maybe even really good. I want a Ghost of Tsushima movie, though. Darn it. So, Bombadil for me.
See, I want to give it a Brokaw just because I think anything he does for the time being, I could be hyped for. So, yeah, we'll see. I like as much as I want the Ghost of Tsushima movie, I think I'll still
but if I
be
put
excited.
my Bombadil closer to the camera here, it's going to autofocus. Like that. Look at that. Look at these high quality Bombadils.
That really is a high quality
look at that
right there. Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of excited for it. I don't know much about Highlander, but people seem to like it. So
cool.
Awesome.
Nice.
Next piece of news, Jimmy. Sicario 3, previously talked about how that's happening. It's looking to bring back all 3 leads of the original film, including Emily Blunt, who was absent from the previous film. All 3 are apparently just waiting on a finalized draft of the movie. So what do you think of possibly all 3 of them coming back, Jimmy?
So that's Emily Blunt,
Josh
Benicio del Toro, and Josh Brolin.
Yeah.
Well, cool. I still haven't seen Dia del Soldado. So I'll give it a Brokaw. Why not?
I'll give it a Brokaw too. I liked the second one, even though it was not even close to on par with the first one. First one was just way better.
Rewatch Sicario.
Yeah, it's really good. And the final piece of news is apparently they're making another SpongeBob movie, which I found out about because in the kind of release date kerfuffle that both Paramount and Disney was doing, Paramount revealed that a 4th movie is going to be coming out now in December of 2025. Excited for a new SpongeBob movie,
I haven't seen the last one, so
I haven't either.
Bergeron for me.
Yeah. I'm probably at a Bergeron too. I heard the last one was meh. The first one is a classic.
Oh,
if it could ever get on par with that first one.
The second one was okay.
Yeah.
Better than expected. I mean, the stuff where it is like the weird animation on land is the worst part of it.
Yeah, but that's a small chunk of the movie.
Yeah. Marketed very poorly.
Yes.
That second movie.
I agree. But that's it for Tom's this week, Jimmy, I believe. The only other thing I can think of is that Insomniac said that the Wolverine game is going to be set in the Spider-Man universe, which could have expected. But.
Wow. Nope. I think that's it. Quick little TOMPeyes this week, Golden.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. I think the only thing I really recall from memorable from this Popeyes experience is the phone ringing and the guy just refusing to answer it. Everybody, the manager just said, what did he say? Let it ring.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not answering that. We got too many orders.
Let it ring.
He seemed to be very stressed out this week.
Yeah. They were busy.
They were busy. But the food was pretty good. Had a good biscuit again. Mm-hmm. Still a little traumatized from that one time, but
soapy biscuit.
Yeah, soapy biscuit. But all the food was very good. They actually gave me spicy chicken this time. Yeah, I actually think they gave me everything I wanted. So
a relatively dull Popeyes experience, in all honesty. Yeah. So what is this?
Pretty surprising.
Yeah. Other than that, I think that's it for TOMPeyes.
I think that's it for
TOMPeyes.
TOMPeyes.
Very short and sweet this week, which means, Holden, it's time to dive into Loki, episode 4, The Heart of the TVA. This will be a spoiler-filled discussion, so if you have not watched this episode, skip over this or pause this or whatever you need to do. Watch it and then come back.
All right, Loki season 2, episode 4, titled Heart of the TVA. Spoilers for this episode. This episode is insane.
It's very good.
Really good.
Yeah.
It's the
also
best.
Just the most morbid thing in the MCU of all time.
It's the best episode of the season. One of the best of the series, if not the best. I'd have to think about it if it's the best of the series, but it's so much happens in it. A lot of big swings. We'll see how they pay off.
Yes.
But kudos.
What a ride.
Yeah, what a ride.
It's like, I can't believe they did that.
Yeah, right.
Wow.
So it starts out, and
We're at the end of time.
At the end of time, we got Renslayer and Miss Minutes, and Miss Minutes reveals the secret that she was alluded to at the end of the last episode, where Renslayer had been like key in helping Kang win He Who Remains win the multiversal war, and He Who Remains essentially like wiped her memory. He like promised her that she was going to like rule by his side and stuff at the end of time with the TVA established.
You gonna come back to the TVA with me? No, I'll be back.
I'll catch up.
I'll just gotta go pick up a pack of cigarettes real quick.
just a second. But yeah, he wipes her mind, and then that's how she ends up as a judge in the TVA. And so she's a little mad about that.
Yeah. A lot of mind wiping in these two shows that we're watching right now.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, then she and Miss Minutes are like, we don't really need him. We could just rule on our own. Let's do that. So that's what they decide to do.
Yeah.
My one thing I'll mention, and I when I was flipping through this episode, I don't think that unless they say it in a later scene, how do they leave the end of time?
Just with the temp pad, I guess.
That's what I mean, I guess like you can assume that He Who Remains has like some tech around there. And I think I even maybe mentioned that last week that's probably how they were going to leave. But yeah, I like rewatched that intro scene, like expecting them to pick up something. And I don't think they do.
Yeah, so, I don't know. I'm trying to flip through it, but I don't know if my internet just went out. So
okay. That's fair.
I was attempting to, but I'm just stuck. We get stuck here at this.
Okay.
So.
But then it goes to TVA. Victor Timely shows up there and is like in awe because it's everything he's read about. He's kind of grown up reading about this.
This is the TVA.
This is the TVA. He meets Ouroboros, which is very cute.
It is very cute. I want to see a scene though where Victor Timely talks to Saw Gerrera.
Yeah. They do have very similar.
Saw Gerrera, and you are
Victor Timely.
Victor Timely.
But I did like that. Like, so OB, like obviously Victor is fanboying over OB. Like he wrote the manual and everything. And then OB's like, oh yeah, I had the help of this 18th or 19th century scientist or whatever.
It's like named Vic. What did you say your name was? It's one of those like paradoxical time loop things that, could this happen? Does it make any sense?
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
As they say, what came first, chicken and the egg? And they literally say that like it's like a snake eating its own tail, which is what Ouroboros is.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
But that was a very fun scene. After that, I'm trying to think what was next.
Disney Plus is just
That's
refusing to cooperate.
I've got the Wikipedia synopsis here, so we'll just go after that.
Okay, sounds good.
They get to the the loom room, and they're kind of like prepping everything, and then Hunter B-15 goes to talk to the General Docs or whatever her name is.
Liza Aaron.
Yeah, Liza Aaron.
Yeah, Docs.
Yeah, is talking to her and is like, hey, like, I know we've had our differences, but, I know you care about the TVA. And so if Renslayer comes back, then you should help us.
Enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Exactly, yeah.
Let's align, where do we agree,
And to my surprise, they like actually got on board with it.
Seemingly, yeah. I like how they really kind of leaned into the idea that it seems like they're like this storyline's going to happen where Liza Aaron's going to come back, and I'm just calling her Liza Aaron.
Yeah, that's fine.
Docs is going to come back and kind of play this role, but that does not happen.
No, it doesn't.
That does not happen. But a scene before we get to that thing I cannot believe is in the MCU.
All right.
I love the scene with the little miniature of their like plan.
Oh yeah.
They're like, someone's gonna have to hightail it out of here, and it's like, well,
Owen Wilson's like, well, when does Loki go out?
Yeah. It's like, what are you talking about? Me? Why? Well, yeah. Look at him. He looks like you. He's like, just clearly just a very generic looking person figurine.
very good.
Well, I mean, it's
interactions
your
as always
turn
between the two.
I mean, like I did it last time.
yeah,
It's your turn.
it's your turn.
Mobius again. Owen Wilson continues to nail the delivery of that character.
He really does.
Mobius is just one of my favorite MCU characters at this point. I
so
could
funny.
just watch him in any. Like, I want him to be like the cameo and things. Like, I would
that'd be
stand
so
up and
good.
cheer more for Mobius than 80% of the Marvel characters at this point.
That'd be pretty good. Mobius just popping up here and there.
Like, Iron Man could come back, and then you could have Mobius be like, "Hey, I thought this guy was like dead,"
That's what,
and I would be more impressed with Mobius.
even if they're, I think what they should do is Mobius should be the Iron Man of this era of the MCU, where he has the sacrificial like death or something in the final Secret Wars or whatever.
There you go.
That's what I want.
That's what you want.
That way he's just popping up everywhere.
He's like on one side, he has to make a decision to save the universe. On the other side, it's like a jet ski.
Yeah, he has to make a decision to let this jet ski go.
The jet ski.
But then Loki and Sylvie kind of have an argument about, whether or not, the TVA, like Loki's like, we should be helping the TVA and everything. It's an argument they've kind of had before, but I don't know. I appreciate each of their viewpoints, I think, because each of them makes sense. Like Loki's clearly grown over the course of this whole series, where he's grown to trust a lot of the people in the TVA and knows that the TVA, while it maybe not made with the best intentions, could be used as a force of good overall if in the right hands, or at least that's what he believes. Meanwhile, Sylvie has like literally been inflicted with nothing but pain from the TVA her like entire life and everything, and that's why she's just so callous towards it.
Well, I think she makes really good points that like no matter what you do, you're just playing God.
Yeah,
and like why do you get this? And then I was thinking like, well, literally they are gods,
and then
that's what Loki
says.
But I mean, yeah, I'm still confused as to why they need to fix the temporal issues, like the temporal loom, and stop all these branching timelines. Is it just to stop He Who Remains? Is it just to preserve the TVA like dimension?
Well,
is where I'm a little bit like, okay, why exactly do we need to do this? I mean, it makes sense from a season 1 TVA standpoint.
Well, no, they're fixing it because like apparently like all of the time energy, I think is what they call it, that goes through the loom like starts creating the branching timelines.
Okay.
And like before, when it was just a straight line, it was like fine, it could handle it. But now that it's creating branching timelines, it's like essentially getting overworked, I think.
But why is that a big deal?
Because it's like, I don't know. It's going to break and they don't know what's going to happen, essentially.
I guess. Okay.
So that's what I like. They don't, I think it's more of like, they don't know what's going to happen and they're assuming the worst. Right.
Yeah.
So we'll see actually what ends up happening. But, I did one thing that I noticed in this episode that I know was a gripe you had in the previous episode, in like the second episode or something, where you were like, why haven't they been using magic at the TVA?
Oh, yeah. When they're like, well, if we shut it down, then they'll be able to use magic at the TVA. Shut it down.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, with that. I was like, I feel like that was not mentioned.
I'm pretty sure it was established in the first season.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember.
But I was like kind of assuming that was the case.
Yeah.
I like how they were like, shut it down.
Yeah, that was pretty good. But then you have we can talk about the gruesome scene where Renslayer comes back to Dox and her crew and it's like, hey, like, you don't like Loki and them, so you should help us take over the TVA. And Dox is like, nah.
No.
You're clearly bad news for the TVA too, so we're not going to help.
But Brad Wolf is like, hey, I liked being an actor.
Yeah, so I want to spot on the timeline because that's what Renslayer promises them. And then they kill them. They kill everyone in that room.
They Agent Strom them.
Yeah, they crush them in this box. The shrinking box from the third episode or whatever that was, or second episode, I think. With when Brad Wolf was in it, it was like the torture device. But they literally just crush everyone.
Everyone.
And it is insane. You hear
horrific.
You hear their screams It's all off screen.
It could be much, much more gruesome. They like really held back, and a lot of like you didn't hear any like crunching or anything.
You do hear blood.
You do hear like the blood dripping at the end, but like it's not like the
no. Which is probably for the best, but it's still pretty gruesome. Miss Minutes is like smiling the whole time.
Yeah, Miss Minutes is twisted,
crazy. But that is
that
probably
has to be the most morbid thing in the MCU, right?
Probably.
That is just the most dark, twisted.
I cannot
believe.
Yeah,
I cannot believe they let them make this.
If the Netflix stuff isn't counted as canon anymore, I definitely would say yes. Otherwise, there might be stuff in the Netflix series, but yeah, it's still disgusting and really disturbing.
Yeah.
But then they kidnap Victor Timely after he's like impressed by the hot chocolate machine, which I thought that was fun. I mean, I was like, okay, obviously he's gonna leave and he's gonna get kidnapped or whatever.
Yeah,
but
that's the one thing is like, don't let the guy go.
No,
like just keep him there.
That's a bad idea.
Like literally the most important person to the entire operation.
You're just
keep him
letting
right
him get to the hot.
Someone can bring him
machine.
the hot chocolate.
Yeah, right.
And then he can see it after you fix the thing.
Yeah,
you know, like let's sign each other's TVA guidebooks afterwards. Let's do this afterwards.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if that was really annoying to you, I could see people nitpicking that. Was not a big deal to me.
No, it was fine. I thought it was a fun enough scene. What else?
We have like the closing of the time loop with Loki seeing Sylvie come out of the elevator.
Yes.
And then pruning himself.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have that altercation with Brad Wolf.
Yes. Because at that point,
X5, is that his name or something?
I think it's X5. Since the magic is turned back on, they use the mind control that Loki's used before on Brad, and then they break into where Renslayer is and just like prune her like immediately.
Yeah,
there's like hardly any struggle there. They no trouble taking her down, which makes sense because there's like 3 of them with Brad.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, she's Miss Minutes is also dead or like rebooting.
Yeah,
they turn her off.
Then it's like, okay, things are looking like they're turning around. Now we're headed to fix the temporal loom. They're gonna Loki's gonna go out there, and then Victor Timely's like, no, I got it. I was like, oh, this guy is totally bad news. He's gonna betray them. He's gonna do something evil out there and take control of the situation. Even as despite Miss Minutes, who's like, you'll never be him or whatever.
Yeah,
he's like, oh, she misunderestimates me.
Yeah, maybe.
That's not a word. Underestimates me.
Misunderestimates.
That's probably something George W. Bush said. And then it's building up. He goes out there and he just spaghetti noodles.
Immediately just disintegrates.
Immediately. This character that seems incredibly important to the last 2 episodes, gone. Just gone.
And then everyone's just like,
what happened? I guess the temporal radiation was just too much or something. He
yeah,
says.
I think it was something like that. Oh my God. When I first saw that, I was like, oh, Jesus.
I was like, what just happened? It is very shocking.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of things in this episode are just, I cannot believe what's happening in a very good way.
And then it ends with them just like, well, we're screwed.
Yeah.
And then the loom just collapses in and whatever happens. And then flash of white music cuts out suddenly.
And then that's the end of the episode.
Yeah.
It's like great cliffhanger, great ending. It reminded me of some of the better TV, like what the heck moments have just, happened. Like maybe like the Red Wedding in Game of Thrones or like, the stuff that happens in season 2 of The Boys.
Yeah.
I feel like is pretty comparable as like, what did I just watch? What is even like, I don't have no idea where things are going now. Like, it's like things have like over several episodes built up to this moment and the rug has been just ripped out from underneath everything.
There's literally
And like, is there even a floor underneath you? Like, what is happening?
I talked about last episode not knowing where the series is going, and there's literally no idea now. Like even less so than the previous episode.
Not where, Holden.
When there we go.
There you go.
Yeah, it's weird because it seems like a very big event. And we'll see how it plays into the last two episodes, how they pan out. But if it seems like huge. It seems like a weird thing to have in a TV show for the MCU, right?
Yeah,
this seems like massive, which maybe it's not as big. As you said, as we were saying, maybe it's not as big of a deal because they just don't know what was going to happen. But I don't know. I'm very interested. I'm also worried that it's not going to be like as good as this.
Yeah.
Like that's the big problem is like this leaves it open for so many possibilities. This is a huge risk that they could do a lot with, and they could just do nothing with it. And I'm worried. Loki hasn't really proven that it needs to like that we need to have any doubt in it or anything yet, but it isn't. It is an MCU Disney show, which usually have weaker endings.
It's like, okay, it's like the quality level of it. Like when you know things are certain things are kind of building up to, you can kind of feel these plot points that you're building up to. There's like a floor to the quality. There's like a baseline quality that you're going to come to expect. Yeah. That baseline is just completely gone because we have no idea what's coming.
It's true.
I kind of similar to like Better Call Saul when it just shifts towards the end, or Barry in the final season shifting completely towards the end of the show. You know, do those things completely land? For some people they do, some people they don't. This seems like there's a big shift that's about to happen over the next two episodes, which apparently I believe the people who've been making this, I've heard that they are most confident in these last two episodes.
Okay.
So that's a good sign.
That's I know when like they sent out episodes to critics, they sent out the first 4 episodes, not the last 2. So literally no one knows what's happening aside from those that made it. So
that's exciting.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I had a tremendous time with this episode. I thought it was
good.
Very good. I was like, wowza. When did you watch this, by the way?
I think you watched it on Friday. I think I did too.
That's because I thought about texting you and be like, wow, Loki this week.
I thought about texting you that too. I was maybe going to wait just because then it'd be easier, but I was seeing people on Twitter like, this week's episode is insane. I was like, okay, well, now I have to know what happens.
Yeah. But that's Loki season 2, episode 4. Of course, 2 episodes left in this season. We'll be back to talk about episode 5 next week. In the meantime, though, Holden, we got to talk about another show that's going on, another superhero show that's also been pretty great.
Yeah.
In its run, and that, of course, is Gen V. So we're going to dive into our spoiler discussion of Gen V, episode 7 of season 1, called Sick. Again, it's going to be a spoiler-filled discussion, so if you haven't seen it, pause this or skip over the next segment and go see that and come back. All right? Gen V, episode 7, coming at you right after this.
All right. Gen V, episode 7, titled Sick, Jimmy.
Sick. Totally
Full spoilers, as usual. Where should we start with this episode?
I say we start at the beginning.
All right.
Chronologically.
When Shetty's talking to the guy.
Yeah, Shetty's talking to the guy. Dr. Cardosa or something? Dr.
Like
Barbosa.
Well, you have the soups that are in the cell.
Yeah, just the one person coming out with like leprosy just looks disgusting.
Yeah, clearly it's just incredibly sick with the virus or whatever.
But it only spreads through fluids.
Fluids, I think they
contact
said.
by fluid. Shetty wants it airborne.
Yeah,
it's like, what does she want? Oh, turns out Holden, we kind of get Shetty's motivation here.
Yeah, we get her backstory.
Yeah, we find out that the plane that is
like season 1.
Yeah, season 1. One of my favorite episodes of The Boys.
Yeah, very good episode.
Maybe my favorite.
It's like the third episode or
third
something.
or fourth episode. That was the episode of the show where I was like, this show is incredible. And made me like, this Homelander character is incredible. amazing character. But yeah, I almost thought at first that it was like the daughter and the mom in the airplane, but I don't think that lines up with actually what's the descriptions or whatever of the characters in this. But that would have been interesting as well.
That would have been.
But yes, I thought that was fascinating connection that they made back to season 1. Explains her arc. The one thing I want to know is, how did she know that Homelander was involved? I mean, I guess she was involved in Vought, but still.
Yeah, I think it's just because she's with Vought and Vought covered it up. So I'm guessing somehow
she had
knew.
to have some sort of way of finding out.
Yeah.
That, again, a nitpicky thing. Did it really bother me? But no, not really. But there was a moment where I was like, well, how did she realize this? Because it was covered up. So apparently she was high in Vought then. But yeah, she wants to take out all of them, just genocide.
Yeah, kill all soups.
And I love how like Mallory comes out and she's like, no, that's genocide.
No.
Literally like one of the most anti-soup characters in the show, just completely opposite side of Vought.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, that's too far for me.
Yeah. That's pretty great. It shows, it shows how drastic of a measure this is, but I mean, Shetty tries to appeal to Mallory's like personal history with soups and everything, but yeah, it is just going too far. Because yeah, I mean, there are a lot of bad soups. A lot of them are under control of Vought and everything, but there's also a lot of them that are just like fine. So,
especially, I mean, like the teenagers, the kids at Godolkin
that don't really have an alignment or anything yet.
I think it's like Shetty is just ruthless too. Like she's totally telling Kate like, "Oh, Kate, we can be together and stuff," knowing in her heart that she's just wants her to be dead too. Yeah. Like she's just like, "Okay, it's just a matter of time before you'll get this disease that will kill you, and then I'll be rid of you."
Yeah.
Even though apparently she does care for her, because Kate can tell when people are lying or not. So
yeah, it was hard for me to tell if like. Shetty could just be a very good liar.
Very, very good liar. She seems to be a very good liar.
Which is possible. I mean, she, like, when she was talking to Tech Knight in the previous episode, like, she was a very good liar then. Tech Knight literally just has a power that's, like, can detect even the tiniest poker face. So, like, I wouldn't be surprised if Shetty could just, like, mask her thoughts or anything for Kate, but... Could also be true. I don't know. It's hard to tell with her.
But another part about this is Marie, Jordan, and company going and trying to, like, we have all this information about the woods. Who do we go to? Oh, let's go to Victoria Newman, which is a natural person to go to.
Yeah.
But the dramatic irony of this is, which is a good, like, kind of goes hand in hand with, like, you should watch The Boys before you watch this show, but knowing Victoria Newman is a soup disguised as a anti-Vought politician, all part of like this game.
Yeah, this larger conspiracy,
like a Trojan horse of a politician, really. But I was disappointed that I got like 85% of the way to this conclusion, Holden, and I was disappointed I didn't get to the final 15. But I was like, Newman's powers seem very similar to Marie's. Like, I wonder if Marie can crush people's heads like Newman can, but I didn't think, Newman is they just have the same powers.
Yeah.
Like, I got so close to getting that conclusion.
I never really made that connection at all. So I was, when it came to that reveal, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I was like, I wonder if she can crush heads like Newman can. And then, they just have the same powers.
Exploding heads.
Which, did they talk about whether she could kill Homelander or not? Does Homelander know that she's a soup?
I don't think he does. And I don't know if they've talked about that.
Why do I think there's like a scene where he's like, try to crush my head. You know, you can't, or something like that.
Oh,
maybe I'm making that
I can't
up.
remember. I need to rewatch the third season before the new one comes out.
Yeah. just need to rewatch that show again. It's very good.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like very powerful. Like I was saying about Loki, the season 2 stuff that happens there. Spoilers for The Boys season 2, which hopefully you've seen. But that the scene where their heads all explode is just wild.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, just like what game-changing episode of like what is happening. This is traumatic and morbid and terrifying, and who is doing this, and then the reveal later and rewatching it is pretty incredible as well.
Yeah.
But I mean, Marie is obviously very, very powerful, and it's interesting to think about where she's going to fit into this larger narrative and how much they will fold in Gen V, especially since there's going to be a second season of it, and it seems like this could be a completely self-contained storyline. Do you think we'll get any? I mean, they've teased A-Train. Have we really even seen A-Train?
I don't think we have.
So
A-Train's probably next episode, right?
He's got to be in this soon. Do you think we'll get any other members of the Seven in this?
I don't know. I mean, I could see a Homelander cameo, but I don't know.
I feel like we're bound to get Homelander.
Probably. At least for a little bit. Maybe
Homelander's just going to come in and Darth Vader everybody. Just going to Darth Vader Dean Shetty.
Well, because next week's the last episode, right? I believe so.
That's right. It is.
So yeah, A-Train's probably next episode because I don't think we've seen him yet. I don't know if they do anyone beyond that.
I don't know. They haven't held back anybody. That's for sure.
No, they're not afraid to bring in people. Like I wasn't expecting Mallory this episode. I knew Newman was in it. Like I'm pretty sure she's in the trailer for the series, but yeah, I was surprised when Mallory was here.
One of the things that I'm like, okay, we're doing this is when Sam like gets mixed in with like the like the very ultra right wing superheroes.
Yeah,
like
he gets he gets radicalized, and I felt that was kind of poorly done because he just goes to like a rally, like he goes to like the Newman talk like speech.
Well, it's just
thing.
the most just disgusting guy too is like the one converting him.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was just like, do we need this in here? Like, this is just such low hanging fruit, non-subtle, bad, uninteresting take on this.
Like, I don't mind it necessarily being there. It's just, I feel like it doesn't need to be because there's already so much happening. And also, it's like, it just happens so quick. And I know it's going to like, it's the payoff next episode is going to be, he's going to, I don't know, work against our main crew in some way, I'm guessing. And it's just,
or they're going to end up different places at the end of the season or something.
Yeah, it could be. I don't know.
I feel like it's just a frustrating thing to split him and Emma apart.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, okay, it's just not a very compelling conflict.
Yeah.
You know?
I agree.
There's enough of that in the real world that, you know, like, could we get something else in this TV show? Again, is it a huge deal? No. You got the doctor peeing in the whiskey. That's nice.
Yeah,
Don't
that's pretty good.
Don't drink
that.
Yep, our meeting with Mallory, which we talked about. Let's skip through these. And we talked about the meeting between Marie and Victoria Newman. I like how she's like, "Oh, tell me something about myself." I thought that was a cool reveal of it.
Yeah, I was like, oh, and as soon as she said that, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, Marie's gonna sense the compound V in the blood, and that's pretty cool. It's pretty interesting too. I mean, like, I don't know if it would come into play in a larger plot at all, but I mean, it is an interesting power to be able to detect like hidden soups potentially.
Yeah.
Right. So
yeah, that's a good one as well. An unexpected part of this episode is Polarity's like seizure.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, that scene in the ambulance is pretty terrifying when Andre is trying to like keep the ambulance together.
Yeah.
While things are just flying around deadly.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see how that shakes up at the end. But I like how they just replace him with this. What's the guy's name? The news anchor.
I can't remember.
Cameron Coleman.
Yeah.
just the sleaziest looking guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. Trying to just look through.
Oh yeah, they fight the one girl. Jordan fights the one girl.
The one who posted the video on Emma and all that.
Which I forgot she existed. She has not been in since like the second episode.
Yeah.
I honestly, so I guess I don't know if there's anything before we get to the end, but the final scene, I honestly couldn't tell who was in control of the situation, if it was Kate or Dean
I could
Shetty.
not either. I was like, at first I thought Kate was just completely acting.
Yeah.
But then I kind of came around to no, I think she is kind of completely exposing Dean Shetty. She's like finally realizing Dean Shetty's plans.
Yeah.
But it's like too late at this point.
Mm-hmm.
How does that scene resolve again?
Kate cuts.
Oh yeah, she has
her cut her own throat.
That's right.
So Dean Shetty dies.
Dean Shetty's gone.
Kate stops Marie from saving her.
Yeah, that was twisted as well.
Yeah.
The trauma there, the really good match cutting of Marie's mom dying and then Dean Shetty bleeding out.
Yep.
Which as twisted as it was, like she was like a motherly figure to her. Like she was, like she was like her main backer within the school, even though it was for her own selfish gain. Mm-hmm. And then finally we have Dr. Cardosa meeting with Victoria Newman. I'm like, this guy's head's this guy's head is not going to be intact.
It's a matter of when, not
like,
if.
They held on surprisingly long too. Like I kept just anticipating. It was like anticipating the jump scare, and it just was on and on and on, and then just a little nosebleed.
Mm-hmm. It was pretty good. Yeah, it was fun.
But it felt very Dark Knight Rises. Like, oh, you're the only person who can replicate this, huh?
Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning with Carrie Elways. You remember that?
What does he say?
No, it's the bad guy is like, so you're telling me you're the only one that knows who the entity is or whatever.
Yeah. So there we go. Gone. What does Newman want with the stuff? That's a great question.
Yeah. I don't know.
We don't know what she's up to.
Yeah, I don't know. There's quite a bit to resolve in this last episode. I wonder if it's going to resolve all of it.
Well, there's going to be season 2. So
yeah. So.
I do think it's also interesting that Newman is also just part of the cog of Vought saying like, look, Murray, you could try to stop all this stuff, or you could be the first black woman in the 7 and actually make a difference that way. Mm-hmm. Like she's like totally embraced the political machine. That's how you'll make the difference. Embrace this establishment.
Yeah.
And Marie's like, no, I'm going to drain the swamp.
Mm-hmm.
Soup lives matter.
Soup lives matter.
Yeah, I thought this was a very strong episode as well.
Yeah, I really liked it too. I'm very excited to see where it ends next week.
Yes, only one episode left. How about that? Again, we'll talk about that final episode of the season next week. So stick around for that. Make sure you subscribe, you follow on your podcast platforms, whatever it may be. However, Holden, whatever you just do whatever you want.
Yeah.
We have a movie to talk about this week, Holden, and that is the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, Holden. Oh my goodness, so much buzz around this movie. Let's weigh in with our thoughts. We're going to start off spoiler free. So if you haven't seen the movie, stay around for a while. Enjoy, listen to what we think, and then we'll let you know when we're going to dive into the spoilers.
All right, Five Nights at Freddy's, based on the video game of the same name, directed by Emma Tammy. What's the synopsis?
A troubled security guard begins working at Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria. While spending his first night on the job, Holden's got to take his clothes off for this.
It's very warm in these lights.
While spending his first night on the job, he realizes the late shift at Freddy's won't be so easy to make it through. Uh-oh. Ending a sentence with a preposition.
That's the scariest thing. So obviously based on the hit video games, I am quite familiar with some of these video games. When the game started back in like 2014, it's like 10 years ago. This movie is 10 years too late. but I was like super into it. I played the first 4 games, all of which released within a year of the first one.
Wow.
Yeah, quick churn out. So I was for like a year. I was obsessed with these games. I thought they were scary. I thought the lore behind them was really interesting. All the stuff you could read on the internet, all the hidden things in the games. There was so much to it. I really enjoyed it. And then I think there was just like a longer gap between the 4th and 5th, and that's when I kind of fell off. And since then, I really haven't paid too much attention. I kind of know the basic gist of the general lore, but other than that, I kind of fell off being a Five Nights at Freddy's fan.
A FNAF fan?
A FNAF fan.
A FNAFin?
I remember liking the second one the most. I don't know if that's a popular, controversial take, but yeah. With that being said, this movie blows. It's pretty bad. I feel like I'm in kind of a weird position where I did used to like this series. I don't really care for it now, but I also don't like hate it or anything. So I know a bunch about it, but I wouldn't consider myself a fan. And this movie just like did nothing for me. There were sure like a few like Easter eggs and stuff I noticed. I was like, hey, I know that. But I think this movie's pretty bad.
Here's what I'll say about this movie, Holden. I think this is a great movie for people who are going to the horror movie for the first time as like tweens. I think they will enjoy this. I think they'll have a good time. And I think 15 years from now, they'll look back at this movie and go, oof, that was not very good. Look, the animatronics and stuff, the actual puppet things, animatronics, I guess.
I think they are animatronics.
That looks
Jim
good.
Henson Company.
That looks good. And I think the movie is fairly well lit. And that's about all the nice things I have to say about it. I think this movie is really bad. Came into this movie with low expectations and they did not meet them.
Yeah. On the gateway horror front, I kind of agree, but at the same time, I just think there's like way better ones you could watch too. Like a couple years ago, we did Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark.
But the problem with that, like the thing that this has going for it is like the aesthetic, the 80s sort of thing, and then the just animatronic things. Like it's just much more iconic from a visual standpoint, and I think that's going to help it so much. And from a pre-existing IP standpoint, because it's going to get into that. It's got so much more lore than that sort of thing. I agree. As a movie, it's not as good as what's it called again?
Scary Stories
to Tell in the Dark. But I don't remember anything that happens in Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. I'm probably going to remember more things about this movie just because it's more visually iconic. Animatronics are just kind of a subconscious fear that a lot of people have. You know, people have been to Chuck E. Cheese. And you just...
People have been to Chuck E. Cheese?
People, I mean, it's just more like, scarecrows are, scary or whatever, and Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. But something about an animatronic bear thing is terrifying. So I think that's going to have that going for it. Just the buzz, the ability to kind of dive into this world. Again, I think a lot of people are going to enjoy this, and I think a lot of people have enjoyed it from what I heard.
Yeah,
I just think that
fans really like it.
I think that outside of those circles, though, if that does not describe you, a preteen who is kind of your interest has been piqued by the trailer, I think there's not much to see here.
I think it's pretty telling too. Not that this is necessarily a bad thing, and I can't remember the exact metric, but I saw something that was like 95% of the people that went and saw this movie this weekend were under the age of 30.
Yeah.
So it is obviously aimed towards people who have grown up with these games, really like it, or just younger audiences. So of which neither of us really fit that.
No. So it's not a movie for us. But with that being said, I think it is not a good movie.
No.
And we will dive into why. Like you can have that preteen movie and still make it good. You know, like
it being a gateway horror, I don't think is an excuse necessarily for how it turned out as a film. Like it could be.
The PG-13 rating is not the thing holding this movie
No,
back. It's not like if Freddy Fazbear is just ripping people in half.
You can do a lot with a PG-13 rating, even if they're not necessarily scary to us. And this movie does not do any of it. This movie is like, even I think my other issue with calling it a good gateway horror movie is it's like hardly a horror movie.
No,
it's like
it's very much like the animatronics go after the bad people and not the good people, and there's very little actual stuff happening. It's more of a drama.
There's like one 5-minute scene in the beginning of the second act, end of the first act or whatever, that is a horror scene, and I would say most of the rest of it is just not. Like it's kind of like that one, and I guess the intro too, but. Yeah,
it's almost closer to a Saw movie than a straight up horror movie.
In terms of,
in a weird way, in terms of the characters literally wake up in saw traps.
Yeah, I guess in terms of tone, yeah, in a way.
There are a couple scenes that literally looks like someone's in a saw trap.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
I kind of agree.
It's kind of got the aesthetic of it too, a little bit.
A little bit. I'm not sure if I want to give this movie the credit a Saw movie deserves. Anyway,
the characters in this movie are awful.
They are really bad. Everyone is okay. So you have Mike as our main character, played by Josh Hutcherson, who is absurdly overwritten, I would say, in a lot of ways. He has way too much going on and simultaneously is just very uninteresting. Josh Hutcherson, I feel like he does okay with what he's given, but his character is too complicated for no reason. They give him a bunch of things that go absolutely nowhere, and it's pretty awful. Matthew Lillard is in the movie for 5 minutes at most.
He is not in this movie.
Yeah,
really at all.
Yeah, and probably not even 5 minutes. And he was who I was looking forward to most.
This movie has the most predictable twists ever.
Yeah. And it has a lot of twists.
It has a lot. And they're it's like, oh my gosh, a twist. Again, if you're 11, you may not see it coming.
And it is a lot of it is stuff that I remember from the games. So there were some things that I feel like, I mean, I guess you as someone who hasn't played the games, you were also not surprised. But a lot of it was stuff I was like, okay, I know this because this is from the game or whatever. But I don't know. It was, yeah. There's 3 twists in a matter of 5 minutes at the end of the movie. It's really lame. The daughter the little sister was okay.
Yeah, she was.
She was okay. Probably the best character in the movie.
There are so many weird things going on in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the one premise that Josh Hutcherson's character is going into his dreams to try to figure out who kidnapped his brother.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of a cool concept, in a sci-fi way. But I feel like that does not belong in this movie. I feel like that's a different movie entirely, a crime thriller. And this one, there's so many things that are just so convenient about everything that plays out in this movie. And to a nonsensical degree, just a silly, preposterous, downright goofy degree. It just makes the whole movie come off rather silly and not to be, of course it's a movie of these animatronics coming to life, but it's not very compelling or scary or engrossing, I would say. I'm not engrossed in this because it's so unbelievable and there's no suspension of disbelief. It doesn't feel grounded within the own universe it's trying to make.
I feel like it rushes so many things, and I think that's part of the problem. Is I think what made the original games work better is it told its lore over the course of several games or whatever. So you start the games, okay, you have the evil animatronics. There's some hints that maybe they're possessed by ghosts, but you don't really know. And that's kind of the extent you know from the first game. Then you kind of build up the lore as it goes on. It does get silly like it does in this movie, but I feel like if you slowly build it up, you kind of are slowly pulling the audience into being able to believe that kind of stuff more. And here it's just they're just throwing it at you. And as you know, if you're not already on board with Five Nights at Freddy's, it's like, well, this does not make any sense at all. And this is a lot of really stupid stuff.
There's a couple like fake out jump scares and like very
Awful.
weird jokes that I don't know. It's just weird. Like there's these big evil animatronic things are just doing things in the world and people just seem to roll with it. Like, well, Freddy Fazbear is getting into a car. The cab driver's just like, well, that's weird. And then.
Yeah. And I feel like that the movie really falters in taking a lot of the mystique away from the animatronics. Like it explains everything like halfway through the movie. Like there's not like halfway through the movie, there's no question as to like what's going on with these things. And I don't know. It's really weird.
Well, I think if you look at a lot of classic horror, so many things are left unexplained.
Yeah.
Like Halloween. Like
And you could do that here. That'd probably be more effective.
What else was I going to say? I had several examples off the top of my head, and now I just blanked after saying Halloween. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I would say.
Texas
like
Chainsaws.
You know, there's like, you don't have to explain every single thing. Like maybe these animatronics things just come to life.
And then their adherence to explaining everything then like makes other things feel underwritten when there's like a certain thing in the climax of the movie that is just the most like shoot away thing. I'm like, what? That doesn't make any sense. How do these people know how to do that? Like,
Yeah.
It's so dumb.
But I think, yeah, this movie's kind of all over the place. I think it's too long as well. It's just not very exciting. There's like, my understanding of Five Nights at Freddy's is you're like a security guard in a room and these evil animatronic things are closing in on you constantly.
Yeah.
And like that doesn't happen in this movie.
No.
Really, at all.
It
Like,
really doesn't.
And if you're a good person, a good character, you're really not in any danger in this movie.
Yeah. And
It's like, oh, if you're a bad guy, then you're in danger. And it's
the
just like
animatronics can tell if you're a good or bad
very
guy.
PG-13 generic scary / PG-13 gory. Like, oh, bad thing's about to happen off screen.
Yeah. All of the kills are pretty awful. And not even just from a PG-13 they're bad even from a PG-13 perspective because they're just like they're all off screen. Half of them, I feel like a couple of them, you don't even know like what's happening. There's just like a jump scare and then they're gone.
And everything is very inconsequential.
Yeah.
There's like a whole side plot of this movie that's very bizarre, by the way, and very terrible.
And
like
goes nowhere.
The stupidest idea I think I've seen in a movie in a long time. Like a evil character having this idea of like this plan. I'm like, this is the dumbest plan I think I've ever heard in my life. And then, then there's just a downright goofy sequence where you know exactly what's going to happen and it plays out exactly like you think it will. And then it is never referred to again for basically the rest of the movie.
Yep.
Which is absurd. It is what it is. I'm never going to watch this again. And I think kids will like it now. They'll look back and go, wow, not very good. Not as good as I remember it being.
It's making bank.
Yeah.
I
Can't wait for FNAF 2.
Yeah, which we'll talk about. It's got like a $25 million budget. I think it's already made $130 million, which is insane.
There we go. Freddy Fazbear. I mean, look, could be more fun. I mean, there could be like, from a standpoint of like, look, it was better than Halloween Ends. That's all. I'll give it that.
Yeah. Marginally for me. Very marginally. It's not much. It's like, Halloween Ends sucked, but I also think this sucks pretty hard. I think this is currently my least favorite movie of the year.
I think this is the worst movie I've seen this year so far. And it's bad, but it's not so bad.
It's
not Amsterdam. It's not Halloween Ends. It's not Morbius. It's not what else came out last year that was just so awful.
Jurassic World Dominion.
Jurassic World Dominion. Oh, it's probably pretty close to Jurassic World Dominion.
Yeah.
Except not as long.
Yeah. Does have that going for it. Not as long as that movie. The score is pretty unremarkable. The only reason I bring it up is because it's done by the Newton brothers, who do like a lot of Mike Flanagan stuff, and I was disappointed that it wasn't as good as their stuff in those. Clearly, they have passion for his stuff, and they didn't. This was a check.
Oh, this is also there. This is a movie where serious stuff happens, and it's downright hilarious. Holy smokes.
There were some
scenes where it's like, this is heavy stuff, and I'm like, this is so funny right now. I am laughing.
It's very good. We'll talk about that. Have to talk about that in spoilers.
I think that's what I have to say, non-spoiler wise. Holden, what's your review for this?
Right, probably. I feel like I'm like at a 2.5 out of 10.
What'd you give it on Letterboxd?
I feel like it was like 1 star, which is a 2 out of 10.
Yeah.
You can't give like 2.5, so I think I give it a 2 out of 10.
Okay. Wow.
So I probably have one of the lowest scores on Letterboxd for this movie. I just did not like.
I think it's very rough, and I think it's the worst movie we've seen this year. It was like an entertaining bad more so than this is just an unenjoyable bad. So yeah, I would say, look, if you are new to horror and your interest is piqued by the trailer, you have some fondness for the games, or you're like kind of getting into the games, you have a friend who's into it, I could see people liking this and enjoying this. I have several students who enjoyed it, and good for them. They're gonna have these memories. They got into the theater, they had fun with their friends, and I don't think anybody should take that away from them.
I really liked Paul Blart Mall Cop when I saw it in theaters.
I did
the
too.
First time. So.
all 3 times I saw it in the theaters.
Oh wow!
This is really this generation's Paul Blart Mall Cop.
Yeah.
In a weird way.
There's even the security guard kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
in a weird way, there are parallels. Now, whatever, 15 years later, we look back and we cringe at Paul Blart Mall Cop. Just like 15 years later, they will do the same.
Yeah.
Sorry if you like Paul Blart Mall Cop a lot.
All the Paul Blart Mall Cop fans.
Although I would say Paul Blart Mall Cop's a better movie still.
I might go that far too. I mean, I guess I probably have not seen that movie since like a year after it came out. So it's been 15 years.
Yeah. But yeah, there we go. That's what I have to say about it. So let's talk about our spoiler discussion so we can really talk about things that we want to get off our chest.
Yeah. Okay, spoilers for Five Nights at Freddy's.
You're going to try to kidnap that kid. Boom. Doosh. Doom.
That was so funny. He's beating the snot out of this random guy, Josh Hutcherson, at the beginning of this movie.
Well, I told you gave me very big, like Heavy Rain vibes.
Yeah.
Which I also think that game is hilarious and bad.
Have you played it?
I played the beginning of it and I couldn't. I was like, this game is so bad. I could not. I was like, this game is so overindulgent and serious that it's hilarious. Sorry if people love that game. I do not get it. This game is so incredibly boring and just so overly serious.
I'm not sure.
Melodramatic and bad. I could not take it seriously.
I feel like it's a game that people really liked at the time, and like since then, people more so like because it's like kind of stupid.
Okay,
that's the vibe I get, but I could be wrong. If you are a Heavy Rain fan.
But it being in a mall and that sort of thing, I just got very similar vibes and hilarious. It just beats the crap.
There's the
out of
Paul
guy.
Blart Mall Cop connection too.
Yeah. Great. What a way to start the movie.
Yeah. Hilarious.
Why does the aunt want the kid? That makes 0 sense, Holden.
Yeah.
And they literally says he just wants her for the check or something. I'm like, that makes no sense whatsoever. There cannot be
that much
financial
money.
incentive to do this.
Yeah, that you cannot be earning enough money for it to be worth to take care of this kid you
There's
clearly don't
no
care
way.
about.
Absolutely did not make any sense. It's not like she's like some sort of inheritance that she'll get if she
No.
adopts her or something.
No, it's just like a check from the government or something. Like it's so dumb. Yeah, and it's a whole plot line that just goes nowhere pretty much. They just kind of drop it at a point.
She just dies off screen.
Yeah.
They don't even have the courtesy to like kill her on screen.
No, she dies off screen.
Or even like somewhat imply how she dies.
Where does the body go? It's just in Mike's house. What
did it happen? And how do they explain it?
I don't know. Yeah, like I don't.
Mike seems very guilty.
Yeah, like he would have motive to kill this lady. So there's the movie. You should have started there. No, it's but that whole plot line. So
The Conjuring, Freddy Fazbear made me do it.
She meets with the babysitter of the younger sister and another guy. I don't know who that guy was.
Or like brother,
yeah,
significant other or something.
Okay, I couldn't remember, but
I don't know. That's a good question.
Meets with them at the diner, and that's when you get a cameo from Matt Pat from Game Theory, which you didn't know who that was.
No.
But he was like instrumental to making these games big. Game Theory is this YouTube channel about like making theories about video games. A lot of them can be far-fetched or like disproving certain ones. I used to be really into watching it, and some of them are still pretty cool, but like he started making them about Five Nights at Freddy's and essentially like started just deciphering the lore for everyone.
Wow.
So like his Five Nights at Freddy's videos have like, I feel like especially his early ones have like hundreds of millions of views.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, it's insane. Seems like a nice enough guy, but he plays the waiter here. And he says his catchphrase, it's just a theory too.
Wow.
He's
That's nice.
his line is like something like, I know.
That's
he's like lunch is the most important meal of the day. And then they're like, wasn't it breakfast? He's like, oh, that's just a theory.
Oh,
Or something
nice.
like that.
Nice. That's like me saying adios pantalones.
Yeah. It kind of is.
And you saying love you, bye.
Yeah. But anyway, figured I should bring that up because I recognized him. But that whole plot line then ends in the actual pizzeria, which is like the only horror scene in like the entire movie, in my opinion. It's the only one that's actually treated like it. There's actual like,
And it's just downright silly.
it is very silly, pretty bad. There's the cupcake. Cupcake does most of the legwork.
It really does.
I feel like
I
it's
think
just
the
because
only
it's the-
like somewhat clever thing they did was when they put the cupcake in the vent after
Yeah.
that security guy at the beginning.
Yeah.
Again, wakes up in a saw trap.
Yep. He does.
Almost gets out.
Yeah, he does.
Very
Mike
saw
does
trap.
get out.
Very saw trap-esque.
Yeah, that was pretty scary.
Jigsaw is engineering that chair better though. No loose screws on that thing.
The babysitter dies by getting chomped in half. Remember that?
That's right. Just a clean cut.
It's the most violent death in the movie, but it's also just so stupid.
The funniest.
It's very funny. It's a silhouette, so you can't actually really see it, but that's supposed to be a reference to some stuff in the games too. There's like a very infamous event in the games lore where a kid got like his head bit, like essentially lobotomized by one of these things.
Oh my gosh.
So
See, that's disturbing.
it is disturbing.
Her
It's more
getting-
disturbing than this.
Her getting bit in half. Hilarious.
Yeah.
I like how she's like disguises herself as like this nice babysitter, all to just do this con for like $1,000. Like
It's not that much money to break into this place, trash
to
it.
just commit a lot of crimes.
Yeah.
Get you just
$1,000.
lots of which the fines of which would just be well over $1,000.
Yeah.
And then if you get jail time, stuff on your record.
Well, and their starting price was $2,000. Like that's not much better.
No. And they're like 1,000. Okay.
Okay.
We're not here to
Deal.
eat. Like what?
Why are you at a diner?
Why didn't you
Why don't
meet
you just
somewhere
meet
else?
Yeah. You're there so Matt Pat can have a cameo.
Yeah. Also, just the worst plan. Why don't you just break in during his off hours? Also, why are there why does he care if there's why does he have a security guard there at night and not during the day? It's like people are gonna break in at night, but not during the day.
Yeah, I don't really get that. In the games, I can't remember I think the first one. It's like the place is like still in operation, but it's like on the verge of closing. And I feel like by the end of the game, it closes. Maybe I'm thinking of other ones, but yeah, I feel like most of the games when you're a security guard, you're like, it's open, even if it's kind of, gross or whatever. It's just kind of a dilapidated old place that's still in open and whatnot. But it's just this closed, abandoned facility in this movie that they want a security guard at nighttime only, I guess.
Yeah.
It's very bizarre. So, I don't know. Matthew Lillard is
just clearly the bad guy.
Clearly the bad guy from this. And it's like, so he...
Who's the guy in the yellow bunny suit? It couldn't be the one other character in the movie.
Yeah, right. Mike goes and meets with this guy. He's a career counselor. And he's reading his file and he notices Mike's last name. He stops at his last name and then is like, I want to work this gig. And that's because I assume that's because he found out that the kid, he's like, oh yeah, that's the brother of the kid I killed or whatever.
I guess.
But it was pretty dumb.
Mike Schmidt. Oh, Schmidt. That's a very uncommon last name.
Yeah, that's what they were going for, but it doesn't make much sense to me unless he's vaguely aware of Mike's existence, in general, but didn't put two and two together that this is him. But I'm not going to give this movie that much credit. But his name is William Afton, a big character in the lore, Jimmy. Mm-hmm. He's the main serial killer. But his character in the games is often represented as a purple figure. And so people call him Purple Guy. That was his nickname for a while before he was given an official name. And he, in this movie, Matthew Lillard is wearing a purple tie. So there you go.
Oh, there we go.
There you go. There's the connection. But yeah, he's in the movie for very little, shows up at the end. He's in the yellow bunny suit and he's just the bad guy. And if you're a Five Nights at Freddy's fan, you're like, yeah, he's the guy in the yellow bunny suit. Woo! It's William Afton. And everyone else is like, who cares? It's this guy that was earlier on in the movie. This name means nothing to me.
Yeah.
It's not built up too well at all.
No.
And we're kind of jumping around a bit, but I do want to talk about this ending and something I was really annoyed with. So the way they beat him is they're like, well, they literally say something. I think Vanessa literally says something like he somehow has some control over them, like somehow Palpatine has returned, kind of thing. Somehow he has some power over them, and then they're like, oh, it's the drawing that's on the wall, this drawing that shows them all as friends. So if we draw them as not friends, then they won't be as friends anymore.
It's what do you want me to do? Draw a picture for you? It's I guess so.
Yeah,
they are young children.
It doesn't make any sense. It's not. I feel like they were trying to tenuously connect the fact that Abby, she draws pictures a lot and everything, so they want to incorporate that somehow. But it's never established that's how the connection between him and these kids are. It's so stupid. I don't know.
And then he's alive.
Yeah. They what do you call it? The gun thing. The Chekhov's gun. Yeah, the gun thing. They Chekhov's gun, the spring trap suit. They're like, oh well, don't get in that. It's very dangerous.
Yeah.
It could malfunction. And then the first thing that happens when someone's in a suit is it malfunctions.
Yeah.
So, yeah, obvious.
Mm-hmm.
Although in the games, once again, I think the games just explain this all better. In the games, they malfunction in like moisture. Like moisture is what makes it. Like, and so like if they get wet, it's not just like a random thing. If they get wet, they spring into position or whatever. And so I think when he dies in the games, he's like in like a damp area of the building or something, and like he just happens to like get in under some water or something. I can't remember. But in this, it just happens randomly. It happens like the ghosts make it do it or something. Yeah. It's
the ghosts stupid. Make it do it. Hold on.
Yeah. The devil does make me do it.
Yeah, gosh. What else? I mean, they go back to the dream thing a bunch. I don't know. Like, it's an interesting idea. I just don't need it in this movie.
No.
I didn't care. That scene was also really funny. When it's like, oh, keep track of your brother, and then your brother just gets kidnapped and taken immediately. Yeah.
I didn't understand. I mean, like, Afton, I guess, is just like a general serial killer, but like, I don't. It's like all of his victims that we know of are at this pizzeria, and then he also just had kidnapped this kid.
Yeah, it's not even like his brother's soul was one of them or anything interesting like that. It's just like, no.
It's just another kid that died, which I guess you can like
just Pennywised him.
Yeah, I don't know. It's pretty stupid, and they keep going back to it, and I just feel like that dream thing never really gets a good payoff, because like they're building it up as he goes to the stream every night to try to remember details, which is kind of interesting, I guess. Try to remember details he may have missed. And then it just switches to him trying to communicate to the ghost to like tell him what happened to his brother. And then I don't know. It felt like it wasn't a satisfying payoff because he didn't find out anything. It was just like the ghosts told him. It felt like there was a little lack of agency there in that plot line.
It was like, okay, William Afton did it, who happened to be the security, who happens to be this other killer at this place, whose daughter happens to be the police officer who comes here all the time.
And he happens
which
to
her
be
character makes no sense. Why did she turn in her dad?
Yeah. I don't... Yeah, Vanessa does not make any sense at all.
Why doesn't she just tell him?
Yeah, she's very cryptic, but also just gives out she's the one that like she just explains that there's like ghosts in these animatronics. It's like, okay.
But she's like, I'm not going to say anything to you. Well, why? Why hold that information back?
So she doesn't give up her dad. She doesn't warn Mike or anything. It's implied that she goes alongside with these crimes to some extent, because William says something like, you're just supposed to keep them off my trail or whatever. So she's like complacent in his crimes to some extent. And I don't know.
The best line of this movie was
the
best line. If you bring Abby back here, I will shoot you.
It is so out of left field, so suddenly dramatic that we just laughed. It was so funny.
I was chuckling so hard. If you bring Abby back here, I will shoot you. What? Where did that come from?
Yeah, her character is just so poorly realized. I feel bad for the actress because I feel like she was really trying, and she was just given no favors by the script at all. No, she kind of has a thing for Mike inexplicably. Like Mike seems like a charisma vacuum.
This guy who can't keep a job randomly beats people up.
Yeah,
has zero money, but he's like nice to his sister,
kind of.
All right, let's play this game, Holden. How many views does the Five Nights at Freddy trailer have?
I'm going to say the initial trailer, I'm going to say, let's say 50 million. Might be more.
I'm going to say, that's a good guess. I'm going to say 61 million.
God.
All right, here we go. It is, okay. 34 million. Well, again, we're kind of overhyping it a little bit.
I guess.
So, but quite a bit.
Yeah. Still, there's a lot of people are seeing it, so.
Yeah. Good on them.
I'm trying to think of other things. There were a lot of like background things I noticed that were like they were really unsubtle to me. It was like they were like background Easter eggs, but it was like, okay, there's the scene where Mike towards the beginning is like talking to the doctor or social worker, whoever that was. You know who I'm talking about?
I don't even remember this.
It was like when he and the aunt go and meet with that lady, and the aunt's like, he's a
Oh yeah,
delinquent or whatever.
the one. Remember the freaking lawyer
Yeah.
that they kept cutting to?
And he's just
Like, oh,
awkward. It was a quiet, awkward little lawyer.
I got my briefcase. I don't want to mess with this Karen lady, right, kids?
But he's talking after the meeting with the three of them, with the lawyer, four of them, he talks to the one lady on his own. And there's like in the background, there's like a chalkboard with like a bunch of words on it. And like some of the words are like bear, chick, bunny, fox.
Nice.
I'm like, okay, clever. There's a lot of just like random visual references. The little thing that keeps jump scaring Mike, the little figurine, which is that's one of the worst parts of the movie. There's so many bad things in this movie, but those jump scares are horrible.
What about that mid-credit scene? No,
That was so funny. That was epic. Hilarious. But that little figurine is Balloon Boy, which is one of the animatronics in the second game.
Okay.
So
Neat.
Neat. Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot to it.
He sleeps at his job.
He
just
does.
willingly.
Not very
It's not
good.
even like
He's not very
trying. Not
good
even
at
like
it.
trying to stay up. He just willingly goes to sleep at this job where they're like, you should stay awake.
And
God, that would be boring though.
that would be boring. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if there's much else to say about it. William Afton's like, I always come back. He says that. Okay. That's like his catchphrase in the game. It's not earned at all here. He says that in the game after having come back a couple times, and here this is the first time we've seen him, and he says it. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
he's probably going to be in the next one.
Probably the one that they will definitely make.
Yeah, because this is making bank.
Good on it. People are going seeing movies. Holden. Maybe they'll make a good one.
You know what? This movie simultaneously released on Peacock.
It did. Yeah.
Yeah. So the fact it's doing this well at the box office, I don't like this movie, but good for it. Good for the movies.
Yeah.
Just wish it was a better movie they were seeing.
Yeah. Holden was really scared during the movie.
I was terrified.
Kept grabbing at my shirt. I said, Holden, no. Kept slapping his hands.
I was pleasant. Our audience was pretty okay.
Yeah.
I've heard
we did go Thursday night.
Yeah, I've heard it is a nightmare for some people because
I can imagine.
like, they're just Five Nights at Freddy's fans in the audience, like hooting and hollering at like everything. So good thing we went on a Thursday night
Yes.
when the kids are in bed.
When the kids don't realize movies come out on Thursdays yet.
Yeah.
They all think it's just Fridays still because that's what it says on the commercials.
Yeah,
Thank goodness.
thank goodness we're outsmarting the kids.
Yeah. It's like the Raptors in Jurassic Park. Once they learn to open doors, once they learn that they can go on Thursday nights, Holden, it's over.
It's over for us.
At least they can't drive yet.
It's true. Most of the annoying kids wouldn't be able to bother us on a Thursday night anyway. That is the worst. Like seeing a horror movie on a Friday night, I feel like is the worst time to see a horror movie. If you don't want to be annoyed by the audience.
I think it depends. Yeah, here we are. Like people should go back to the movie theaters, and also we don't want people in the movie theaters when we see a movie. They all have to be like us.
I don't mind if people are there. I just don't be annoying. You can be excited for a movie.
Get off your phone.
Yeah.
You don't need to Snapchat during the movie.
You can laugh at, funny moments. You can hoot and holler at moments that everyone's hooting and hollering at, but don't
be laughing.
Don't be
Don't be
obnoxious.
laughing obnoxiously at the serious moments like we didn't do at this movie, Holden.
We didn't
were
laugh
the
at-
annoying people at this one.
we kept it in a bit. We did laugh, but I don't think we probably would have bothered others. We were kind of quiet.
I don't know.
I tried to rein it in.
Okay, good. I was gonna say I was thinking alternatives. You brought up scary stories to tell in the dark. as an alternative. I feel like, okay, if you can push the envelope a little bit to rated R, I feel like it Chapter 1 is a good movie for like kids to get. Because I think that movie doesn't hold up as well when I watched it again, but I do think it is like a very fun go see it with your friends in the theaters
I feel like,
movie.
Isn't the first Conjuring PG-13 or both?
No way.
Are you sure?
There's no way that movie's rated R. That has to be. I would be stunned. All right.
I feel like I was surprised by this. I could be wrong.
I think you are wrong.
Yeah. I'm right.
But you're not. You're wrong.
Oh yeah, it is
It's
R.
I'm like, there's no way.
It's been a while since I've seen it, so I couldn't remember specific content of it.
See, Conjuring's more like it's more like straight up horror, whereas I feel like It Chapter 1 is the kind of the kid adventure to it. I think it just bridges that gap a little bit.
Well, and I feel like this is leaning less on the horror side, but I feel like there's a lot of older examples of this. Like, especially like back in the 80s, I feel like it was a big thing. Like something like Gremlins.
Okay.
Like I feel like Gremlins is, I mean, it is a little spooky for younger audiences, but it's also silly. So there's a lot of examples, but I don't know.
There we go. Anything else to say?
I don't think so. This movie sucks. So
wow. All right.
It's great if you like it.
It's great if you like it.
This is not a passionate hate like Amsterdam is, where I cannot.
I can see why people would like this.
Yeah, there's at least I can see why
there's
fans
like a
would
target
like it.
audience.
Yes,
that would like. Okay, that makes sense.
I cannot see why anyone would like Amsterdam
or Halloween Ends.
Yeah, really Halloween Ends either.
We will continue to crap on those movies till the end of time. All right. That does it for that. Let's go into our final segment of the show, which, of course, Holden, is What Are You Doing?
What are you doing? What are you doing? No, what are you doing? What are you doing? No, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Well, Jimmy, this week for What Are You Doing? I actually only watched one movie because I've been so busy with Spider-Man, which I'll talk about in a second. But the one movie I watched was Terrifier 2. Because spooky season, so I was like, I'll watch a horror movie. Mm-hmm. I watched Terrifier 1 last year, and both movies, if you're unfamiliar with them, are very infamous for their gore. Like that is like what they're known for, their gory kills and everything. So if you don't like gore, these are probably the goriest movies I've ever seen in my life.
Wow.
At least the second one, especially. The second one, the first one is kind of, they're both pretty low budget. The second one is a lot better. It's the main antagonist is this clown guy, which you're seeing here. And he is great. The guy who plays him is so good, so charismatic. And he's essentially like this mime clown. So he's like silent the whole time too.
I've never even heard of this.
Really?
I feel like I've seen this clown before, but it's just a different creepy clown.
Sure. The first one is kind of
Terrifier 2 is 85 on Rotten Tomatoes. This is free on the Roku channel.
I watched on Amazon. I feel like it's on a couple other things. It is long. It's like 2 hours, 20 minutes. The second one, or maybe it's just over 2 hours. I can't remember, but regardless, it has one of the most gruesome kills I've ever seen in a movie. It is insane. It's a series that I very much appreciate for its practical effects, its performance of like the clown and the clown just being creepy and everything. I feel like it's not quite the like must watch like status yet. Well, I know they're making a third one because the second one did pretty well in terms of low budget movies. I think the second one was made on a budget of like $250,000 or something. Looks pretty good for that amount of money. But yeah, if you like gory slasher movies, you can't get much more than this.
Yeah, I'm looking at Google Images, and I would say 60% of the images are just blurred out for content.
Yeah, it is in terms of like practical effects. It is insane. It's really good and cool looking. That's easily the best part. So. Otherwise, I am finishing up Midnight Club on Netflix, the Mike Flanagan series before Follow the House of Usher. So I'm almost done with that. It is my least favorite one so far, but I'm still liking it.
Mass?
Midnight Club.
What's Midnight Club?
It came out after Midnight Mass. It's like about these group of terminally ill kids who like they all kind of move into this hospice in like the 90s.
It's not tied to Midnight Mass.
It's not tied to Midnight Mass.
Okay.
But it's very, very interesting because it's kind of an anthology series too, where each episode has an overarching story between them, but they also are like these kids are telling stories at night, like kind of tie into their characters and the themes of what's going on. And the stories are really cool for the most part. I like those are my favorite parts. Just these little 20-minute, 30-minute, vignettes. But almost done with that. I'll start Fall of House of Usher probably. And then I am playing Spider-Man. Almost done. It's very good. I think the story itself is not as good as the first one. I think the story missions are better. And I think they have, even though I think it's probably about the same length as the first one in terms of story missions, I feel like they've just trimmed down to like what everyone likes for these. Like like all the missions are very good. So very fun to play. So
what is your opinion about the combat so far?
I was mixed at first, and if I were to compare it to the first game, I'd probably still not like it as much. There's a lot of things to do. I feel like there's more options overall, but it kind of throws a lot at you. And I feel like a lot of it takes a while to kind of get interesting to me. I don't know, personally. Do you have thoughts on it?
I hate how it takes so long to get a freaking takedown anymore. Like I felt like it was a lot easier to get a takedown in Spider-Man, which I liked. I loved watching the animations of that. Now there's so many freaking features and settings in there. I wonder if there's like a focus boost setting that allows you to get more focus.
You do get them a lot faster as you go, and I'm pretty sure in one of the upgrade menus there's like one that upgrades focus bar stuff.
Yeah.
So like you can do that, but I mean I'm at the point where it feels a lot closer to the old game.
Okay, because I was just like, oh my gosh, this is like I'm having to get like a 20 hit combo before I can have one takedown, or I have to heal. That's annoying me a lot. The fact that you can't heal without the full focus bar is driving me crazy, and I do not like that. It makes it harder, but it does not make it more fun to me. It just annoys me.
That really annoyed me too.
So I wonder if there's a setting to change that, because
to me it felt like
crazy.
Like in the previous game, you can get like I think up to 3 focus bars eventually.
Yeah,
but I felt like. I don't know if it like splits it up or something, but I felt like even when you just get more, it like speeds up the process. So that might be it. I don't know.
But those were just a couple of gripes that I had with the combat so far. That I'm like, why did they change this thing that I liked and I was used to?
Boss battles are very good so far. There are a lot more like multi-stage boss battles than in the previous game. So I think those are a lot of fun. But yeah, and I really like the side content so far. There's only a couple like main side missions, and the other collectible content is relatively fun. So I don't really have many complaints so far.
I actually like the photo ops in this one, how they're more unique. Like you going and seeing like little unique New York things.
I like those too.
As opposed to like, here's the Chrysler building. Which, I mean, is good for a Spider-Man game. Makes a lot of sense for the original, but I think it makes more sense here that, like, all right, here's these unique little animations and things that you can actually find in the open world.
I do think it's very funny if you just take a really bad picture and then you send it in.
Yeah. It does not matter.
Yeah. They're just like, oh,
I'm like,
great picture.
I did not catch that accurately at all. Like, these people.
There'll just be like someone that like walks in front of the camera when you're like taking a picture. Oh, that's great.
Oh, looks great, Peter. Or as like you take him as Miles Morales. That feels weird too.
It does feel weird because Peter was.
You're
the one
not
that,
a photographer.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm enjoying it a lot. The traversal is a lot of fun, and I'm excited to get more into it because I've played like 5 hours total right now. Haven't even met the symbiote at all or anything like that. The plot really hasn't kicked into gear at all. So yeah, we'll have a full review of that coming whenever
you finish.
Yeah, probably like Christmas. But yeah, anything else on your end, Holman?
I don't think so. What about you, Jimmy?
For me, I don't think we have actually gotten around to watching The Killing Vote last week, just because it's been busy. We met our new niece, Abriella, in Omaha, Nebraska. Congratulations to Becca and Dalton, if they ever listen to this.
Nice.
But
Congrats.
yeah, it was fun to go down to Omaha and spend time with the family and meeting her. Otherwise, though, I have been watching more of Limitless with Chris Hemsworth on Disney Plus. Just randomly on YouTube, watched a Yellowstone documentary, not the Kevin Costner, like the National Park Yellowstone, like a Planet Earth-esque thing.
Okay.
Which was really cool. It was free on YouTube.
Was it the film Super Volcano?
No, it was not. It had very little to do with the super volcano, refreshingly.
Super Volcano's
but
I think I watched it in science. It's like a fictional movie. I watched it in science class one time. I don't know why. I think of that movie every time I think of Yellowstone.
Oh yeah. Well, the super volcano. That's what you had to learn about in middle school science. It's overdue to go off, But that was really refreshing. It was like the narrator had a very dry sense of humor.
Nice.
Which was fun. So I'd recommend it. National Geographic Yellowstone one. I think that's pretty much it for me. So there we go. Holden, what's the plan for next week?
Well, we will see, Jimmy. We're not exactly sure.
Wow.
We
do know for sure that we have a couple TV episodes coming.
Yeah, we'll do Loki season 2, episode 5, and Gen V, the finale of season 1. Movie we'll see. Hoping The Killer is showing somewhere around here, but otherwise we'll figure something out. Nothing else will get you those 2 TV show episodes. If you want to leave us a request, you can do so by leaving us a 5-star review on iTunes or email us at tompodcast@gmail.com or donate to our Patreon. I believe that's it.
Awesome, Holden. Until next time, adios pantalones.
Love you.